Q&A panel. Normally I start off by going, that was lame, let's do that again. But you don't need to, that was perfect. What did I just say? No, it's really great that you're all here. It's really kind of intimidating that all you people would wait in line for me. It's really good for my ego or bad for my ego, depending on who you ask. So before we get started, it's Q&A, which means you provide the Q, I provide the A. If you don't know what that means, ask the person next to you. And we have this lovely gentleman here. We'll walk around with a microphone, so if I pick on you, the thing is I will say, okay, go, and you raise your hand, then I'll pick on you. At random, it has nothing to do with how my bad eyesight is or whether or not I want to answer your stupid question. No, it's not. So please, it is random. I try to be as random as possible, so, but I do have a couple of rules before we get started on requests and questions. To keep things interesting, and I found this works really, really well. If you've seen me answer the question you want to ask on YouTube, and you know what I'm talking about, don't ask that question, because it's or you can't ask it in a new way, so it forces me to answer it a new way. I like random and crazy, and I like, as you can notice, I can talk forever on any number of subjects, whether I know what I'm actually talking about or not. Stop checking your watch. We actually only have 5 minutes of the panel left now, thank you. So that's cool. If we can keep the questions interesting and lively, I love those kind of things, and you can literally ask me everything. I'm not above lying through my teeth. Also, now is not the time for autographs, so don't ask me to come and sign anything. There's very little room to do so, but there is an autograph signing right after this. Also, please do not ask me to call your friend or your mom or your brother or whatever. It's as much as I love to do it, let's do it later, because here just halts the panel. I'm up here going, yeah, okay, and everyone's like, question when you get off the phone. So yes, this just keeps a nice informal Q&A. Also, I do tend to bust people's chops a lot, so don't take it personally if I pick on you. It's just my way. I love you. I really, really do. So, that having said, who has got a good, nice, random question to start with? Why don't I let you pick so you can run better?
My friend April, she couldn't be here, unfortunately, but her birthday is coming up. Can you sing happy birthday for her?
Oh, it's copywritten. No, I can't. I can't. You know what? I can sing it. Really, it sucks, right? You can't sing it. They were like, no, cease and desist. I can say happy birthday, and I can kind of sing it. What's her favorite character? Does she have a character she like?
Sebastian.
Shocking. No. Are you recording this? Are you recording? Okay, are we ready? Are we going? Okay. Get in character. It's so hard to do Sebastian. What's her name?
April.
April. Important to know. Hello, April. This is Sebastian. Just for you. I can't sing it, but I will say it. Happy birthday, my lord. Oh my God, my ears are ringing. All right, who's got another one?
Hello, can you sing the time warp in Sebastian's voice?
No, stop asking me to sing. I don't sing. I don't sing. I love you. And I would totally do it if I could sing. I don't sing. Please do not ask me to sing. Do not ask me to dance. That's totally getting added to the thing at the beginning of the panel from now on. Sorry. Oh, that was good though. That was a good random question. I'm sorry. I apologize that I can't sing. I kind of wish I could now. I will learn. I'll get back to you.
Could you say the dirty limerick from the outtakes?
The dirty limerick from...
I love you, Bessie.
I suppose I could. It's not entirely family friendly, but there's no curse words in it, so if any parents are in here going to be mad at me, it's your own fault for bringing them here. All right, the dirty limerick. Oh, God. There once was a woman from Q who filled her vajayjay with glue. She said with a grin, if they pay to get in, they'll pay to get out of it, too. Oh God, that got filmed. All right, who's got another one? I learned that limerick from my mother, who asked me to then explain it to her.
Okay, the CL over here wants to know if you'll wear bunny ears for the entire panel.
Oh God, no.
At least 5 minutes, come on.
No. I don't want to wear bunny ears. They clash with my scarf.
Sebastian.
Man, you do one panel where you wear bunny ears and a cowboy hat, and suddenly I walk out of every panel I do in furs and heels and like pearls. I love you. I love you. Please, can we stop the wearing of the things?
This is an order.
It's an order?
Yes.
Oh, God. Fine, bring up the ears. Oh, shut up, all of you.
You look awesome.
My life is the result of a lot of very poor choices made early on. Who's got another question? I'm not putting anything else on. So, what? We have, what, yes?
Hey, this is Erica.
Hello.
I'm really sorry they put the bunny ears on you. I just put bunny ears on him a few hours ago while we were handing out treats.
My brother, we understand each other now. We're like, you feel my pain, I
but
feel
it's
yours.
only for an hour. He had 2, so.
But I'm in front of like 1 million people. So we're kind of even.
Only half a million.
My question is, do you have a favorite Oscar Wilde quote, and would you say it in your Sebastian voice?
Oh, a favorite Oscar Wilde quote?
Yes.
Oh my God, you get a banana sticker. One day I shall actually have to come to a con with banana stickers because I say it all the time. Like, where's my banana sticker? I'm like, it was a joke. It was a euphemism. Oh my God, now I'm blanking on it because I can't think because I'm on the spot and I love Oscar Wilde. Give you what? Thank you. I need to blank. Got you, Ma. I want to look him up now. What's a quote? No. I'm trying to think. I can't think of an Oscar Wilde one. Can I give you a Winston Churchill one that's just as funny? That sounds like Oscar Wilde could have written it, because otherwise I'll be up like 5 minutes thinking of an Oscar Wilde one. My favorite Winston Churchill quote was when some woman is like telling him, Mr. Churchill, if I were married to you, I would put poison in your tea. Madam, he said, if I were married to you, I would drink it. Boom goes the Churchill. I think Oscar Wilde said, oh, I deeply approve of marriage. Everyone should try it several times. Go on. Other question.
Extras after the second season where you're like backstage and watching all the characters.
Black Butler?
Butler, yeah.
Okay.
How did you feel like about being able to do that, like sort of out of character?
It's really fun. I mean, by season 2, all of us were so in love with our characters and with the show itself that it's kind of fun to get to let loose and you know, do something like that. I mean, I had a blast. I know Brina had a blast too, especially, and I think Brina's version of CL behind the scenes is so different than Brina's version of CL, you know, on camera, so to speak, because she's like, it talks a lot about like this and very bratty and very like, oh, insufferable. But Sebastian is kind of the same, which I kind of like. Sebastian's like, no, I'm really a demon, leave me alone. I thought it was funny. I love the whole Grell bit. It's really, when you fall in love with these characters, and you do invariably like develop a relationship with these characters, it's fun to go there and kind of, you know, push the envelope and see what you can do, because it's fun. They become like family. So like family, it's like, let's go do something crazy together. So I really enjoyed the behind the scenes stuff, which we kind of did things like that already that didn't really make the cut. I mean, you have to understand, I would mess with Ian all the time, because I would stay in Sebastian's voice while recording. I'd be in for an 8-hour day, and I would just stay in this voice. We'd go to lunch together, and I would stay in this voice, because Ian would dare me to do it. And I'm like, this is not difficult for me, so I don't know that this constitutes a dare, but all right. And he would stay in Bard's voice if you wanted to do it. It was just, I don't know, you love doing it so much, you want to take it outside of the booth sometimes, and so getting to sort of do the behind the scenes thing, although technically still in the booth, felt like just another chance to stretch your legs with those characters, which I always jump at the chance to do. Thank you, good question.
Hello, Sensei.
Hello, darling, how are you?
Well, thank you. I have 2 questions. One's really short, and then the one is the kind of the one I asked you last night about the stories. But this one is...
Be careful, people will talk. I'm kidding. Go on, love.
The first question is, would you consider Okabe a Time Lord?
Ooh, Okabe. Who here's seen Steins Gate? Really? The rest of you suck. Steins Gate, let me quickly plug Steins Gate. Steins Gate, I often say that it's hard for me to pick favorites and favorite characters that I've played, but Steins Gate was one of those rare shows that not only I got the chance to work on the adaptive scripts as a lead writer, but I also got to play the lead character, who does a lot of very intense time travel, and it is Probably one of the most amazing shows I've ever worked on in my life, and if I had to pick a favorite, it would be it, with just almost no contest. And I've worked on some amazing shows, but nothing. I will never work on something as amazing as Steins Gate again, because such a creature simply does not exist. But yeah, I would consider Dokkaebi a Time Lord. I mean, he's certainly got his stripes. So, you know, maybe he's the beginning of the Time Lords. You never know. You never know. There's a lot of Time Lord jokes written into the script, by the way, for those of you that are Doctor Who fans. How many of you are Doctor Who fans? Wow. Okay, watch Steins Gate. So there's a Doctor Who. Bow ties are cool. Steins Gate's cooler. Yeah, I do a lot. Me and Patrick Seitz, who worked on the adaptive scripts together, did a lot of nods to Doctor Who throughout the series. So it's really fun. Really fun. You should go check it out. And you had a second question, yes?
Yes, can you please tell us one of your stories like you do on that anime show about one of your
Like
past tense of scary things?
The
that
ghost
happened?
stories?
Yes, please, just one.
Oh goodness! All right. Okay. This is gonna be a scary story. Well, how are we doing on time? I try to if you're like, who here likes a good scary story? Some people didn't raise their hand. Like, I don't care for them. Okay. This one technically did not happen to me, but it is my favorite ghost story that a friend of mine told me. It happened to two friends, and both of them told me the same story. So I love it. God, now I feel like the light should come down, and I should have a candle. No, do not turn the lights off. I would know you're there, and that's quite enough. I'm kidding. Every time I blink, that body pillow gets a little closer. My friend was a friend I knew her in high school, but this happened to her way before we met. She was about, I guess, 10 or 11, and she lived on the outskirts of town. I grew up in the country in Texas, not really the country, but kind of what you would consider the country if you've grown up in a city. It was one of those little suburbs that's surrounded by trees, and cows and things that make noises at night. That city people go, what is that? That's not a train or a car. It sounds alive. And she grew up in this town, in this little suburb even further out from where I did, and she had her friend over one night. She lived with her mother in this nice kind of older house. I don't know that the house had any history of haunting or whatever, but basically this is a short version of the story. They were about 10 and 12, she and her friend, and they were sleeping over at her place. Her mom was in bed, and they're up, eating cookies or telling stories or whatever girls do, I don't know. And they thought they were being too loud because they thought they heard her mom, puttering around in the kitchen, and said, oh, we need to be quiet. Well, they didn't hear anything, or their mom never came to the room to say anything, so they got up to check out and see if she got up. So they went up, and the house was dark, and no one was in the kitchen, and put the body pillow down. and indeed, her mother was, oh my God, they really are all over the place. Oh my God. And really, not a single Thor among you. Not a single Thor. Damn it. Okay, so, sorry. Back to the mood of the story. So the house is dark. No one is in the kitchen. They decide to creep into her mother's bedroom to see if she's indeed still asleep. When they go into the bedroom, they look, and of course the door is open, because I guess she sleeps with the door open. And she had this nice big bed. You have to picture, though, on one side there's this window. And in the window, there was sitting like an old Singer sewing machine, a very old antique, the kind you have to pump with like an iron pump at the bottom, one of those really, really fantastic. It's usually got really great like laminate paint and stuff on it. And like inlays and stuff, and it's just, they had it was part of the house, or it was part of the collection of antiques they had in the house. And standing at this thing, at this Singer sewing machine, was like the 4-foot-tall figure of what looked like a child. Only it wasn't like it was just the form. Like you couldn't make out any details of like clothing or anything like that. It was just this sort of glowing, luminous, 4-foot-tall, vaguely human form that, with its back to them and its arm raised, kind of over, and it was like feeling above it, as though it were trying to feel like almost like it was looking for a key on a door ledge or something. You know how that goes? But there was nothing there. It was just kind of doing this weird thing. And of course, these two young girls see this, and they're like, "Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?" And they're slowly freaking out as they realize that this should not be here. And apparently, it hurt them and turned around, and looked at them, and she, both of them described its face as being absolutely horrible, just like this shrunken, what? It did not have a gas mask. It might have been better if it had a gas mask, because she described it as being like the mouth and the eyes and the nose all sunken back, but you could still see pupils, and it just looked so deranged and sad at the same time, and its mouth was just carved into this deep, frown. And they screamed, of course, as you would when you see a glowing 4-foot childlike ghost thing staring at you with a death's head. And they ran for their lives. And strangely enough, it didn't wake up her mother, so they're sitting in their room just waiting for someone to come and rescue them. And after about an hour or so, they decide, okay, we need to go check on Mom again. So they very quietly open up their door. Now the door was at the end of this long hallway. Stop me if you've heard this one. And they opened up the door very, very quietly, and just at the end of the hallway is the figure with its back turned to them again. And just as the shaft of light from the door hits it, it turns around immediately, and now its face is angry and almost demonic looking, and it begins bounding down the hallway towards them at full throttle. And they're like, ah! Slam the door. And of course, barricaded with everything they've got. The toy box, the dresser, the mattress, and they just proceed to, hold each other and, rock back and forth screaming all night long. As you do when you're being assaulted by some supernatural thing. And that's it. That's the story. Nothing happened after that. But imagine, just your heart leaping into your throat when you see this thing coming down the hallway. And, that image has stayed with me forever. So thank you. That's my little ghost story. Yay! And that is the shortest version I've ever told. All right, another question.
Oh God, I'm shaking.
Was it a scary story? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
It's not the story.
What?
It's not the story.
Oh, you're just shaking.
Yes.
Are you cold?
No.
I would like you to say in your Sebastian voice, "See, do you like it rough?"
Oh, everyone's like, oh, this does not bother me. I do not care. I'll be like, Sam, do you like it rough? Easy. Nothing to it. You're welcome.
Say something that Dororo would say, but do it in his voice.
Say something, Doro. Well, hang on. Give me something to say. You can't just throw that at me. Say something as Doro, you jerk. Give me a line.
Save the planet?
Oh no, actually, I have one. I'll say save the planet though. Save the planet! But my favorite Doro line is we are no longer friends. We are now frenemies. Oh my God, how many Sergeant Frog fans do we have in this room? Okay, awesome. Love that show. Now the question.
Hi, what was your funniest memory of recording for Oron?
My funniest memory from recording for Oron, there was a bunch. I think my favorite was having to say, "What is it now, Daddy?" Which was funny. I mean, to me, I'm just trying to say it, and Caitlin, who played Haruhi, and she was also the voice director on the show, thought, no, you're doing it wrong, it's too sexy. Sorry, Caitlin, I have no frame of reference for how else to say this line, because I don't ever say it in real life unless it's supposed to be sexy. So I'm trying to say things like, "What is it now, Daddy?" She's like, nope, still too sexy. Like, damn it! So after 9 takes and me just sweating bullets and cracking up every time, and so finally in the outtakes you can hear me finally doing it right, and for some reason, or I say right, the way that she wanted me to do it, which is just a straightforward read of "What is it now, Daddy?" And somehow saying it like that creeped me out the most. So I could be like, "What is it now, Daddy?" Is that good? No? Okay, let's do it again. "What is it now, Daddy?" Oh, really? That's that. Next question.
Hi.
Hi.
What was your favorite part about voicing France?
The paycheck.
My favorite part about getting the record French is the accent, because it's the ridiculous French accent ever in the world. Please do not think that these are French people actually speak, because they don't. This is a terrible, intentionally bad, stereotypical French accent, because the joke is to make fun of people who think that's the real thing.
Also getting to like leave bombs, what we call bombs for Todd Habercorn, not like real bombs. I'm like, oh, Todd's coming in after me, here we go, here's the bomb. Nor does it mean that I'm farting in the booth before he comes in after me. That's something else. Bombs is when, you know, if I'm recorded and say, you know, Todd has a nice Italy line coming in after me, but he doesn't record for a few days, but he's gonna hear me on the track in his pre-roll before he comes in for his line, I will say horrible, horrible things that he will have to hear and then have to not respond to get his line out. And then for him to come out of the booth afterwards and me be waiting, and he's like, hey, Tatum, how's it going? Because of some things I've said, which cannot be shared here, by the way, family-friendly panel. Oh, use your imagination, it's better that way.
I listened to the commentary on Steins Gate, and since I know you were the scriptwriter and you also voice Okabe, who talks a lot.
God, he never shuts up. I know, kind of the part I was born to play.
How hard was it, you know, writing the lines and then, like, later you having to act them out and then you're like, oh, I realize Okabe hasn't realized this yet, so...
Oh my God, thank you for asking that question. I've been dying to say this forever, people that know Steins Gate. Steins Gate nearly killed me. Because, and I'm not entirely joking, it is an exhausting process to understand when Patrick Seitz and I work together on the scripts, usually we only have the first 4 or 5 or 6 full adaptive scripts ready to go into the booth when they are ready to start recording. So for the long haul, if I get cast as the lead, as I happen to in this case, I am spending my entire day in character because I will go in to record for 8 hours, come home, and write for another 6 or 7. Sleep, repeat cycle for the week. And because Okabe is a chatty Cathy, and he is a true lead in that he is in virtually every single scene of the series. And there's a reason for that, which if you watch the show you'll understand. He kind of has to be in every scene, otherwise stuff doesn't happen. But there's time travel and there's paradoxes and scenes get revisited and things like that. So it's very confusing. When you're writing this, my office already looked like a conspiracy theory nuts office because I had little post-it notes of events, you know, marked with different twine leading here and there, different colored threads. And I mean, I'm just sitting there looking like, yes, I figured out who killed JFK. It was a tiger. Or, you know, whatever. And so, and then I would have to go into the booth to record and be like, oh my God, that's right. This scene happened, I wrote this like a month ago, but now I'm recording this, but I'm gonna be revisiting this in a month again because the scene's coming up and my God, what year is it? So I had to tell like my boyfriend and all my friends, like all who saw me on a day-to-day basis, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but for 8 months I'm just going to be this character because there's no chance for me to just kind of shed his skin when I get home because I've got to go in my office and start writing. So it's intense, and I would never actually, as much as I love working on Steins Gate, it was so exhausting, I never want to repeat that experience again. I never want to be writing the show that I'm also the lead in, because it's hell on earth. Because also, too, when I'm in the booth and something doesn't work, I have no one else to blame but me. It's either I suck as an actor or I suck as a writer, and that's why this line isn't working. I'm so sorry, Colleen. But it was, God, it's such a great show. I had breakdowns in the booth because he's very emotional. You know, once the show gets dark, and it gets very dark, very, very dark. He's very raw, and he screams a lot and cries a lot and pleads with people not to do things a lot. And it was hard. It was very, very hard. It came from a very, very personal place that I wasn't necessarily ready to deal with, and I had breakdowns. I'm like, Colleen, I gotta go and take a break because I'm actually crying. So it's a little psychotic. Don't be like, oh, it's cute. It's not cute when you see a grown man in the fetal position in a booth going, it's not at all. The reality is very ugly. But thank you. That's a good question. Do we have another one?
Hi, I wanted you to do the troll-a-lol-a-lol laugh in France's laugh.
I can't even resolve those two in my head. Oh, you're talking about the Trollolo song, right? The Don't encourage it, shut up.
Commence the fetal position.
What?
Commence the fetal position.
It's a great reason to have a scarf, by the way. You can just dramatically go, okay. Stop looking at me. Oh, French sister, see this.
Do you want
I
the
need the
lights on?
Snuggie. I need the blue Snuggie.
Do you want the lights on?
There. Please never ask me to do that again. The things I do for you people. I just did that. I'm wearing rabbit ears. My God. Bury my soul. Yes.
Yes, my name is Haley, and I'm a huge fan of yours, but what is your favorite line of Sebastian from Black Butler?
My favorite Black Butler line that Sebastian says, oh, I have to say, it's so hard to pick a favorite. You know, I'm not really good at the favorites game, but I do like the Yes, My Lord. Because, what? You realize I can't hear you all. I just hear, well, they said. I like Yes, My Lord, because everyone freaks out over it. It's like, seriously, watch. Yes, my Lord. What's really sad is when I'm like an old man in a nursing home, I'm gonna be some senile guy in a wheelchair going, yes, my Lord, why aren't you screaming? So you're spoiling me, all of you.
I love you. Just saying that, but
Thank you, I love you.
What? Can you do the cheesiest pickup line you can think of in France's voice, please?
Really?
I got a good one. Do you happen to have a sewing kit on you, like a needle and thread? Do you? No? That's a shame, because I'm ripped!
It actually worked on me once. Shut up! I was young and stupid, and he was cute.
Can you tell the blue Snuggie story?
Who said, oh God, no? I distinctly heard an, oh God, no! And like 9 people raised their hand. The Blue Snuggie story is very simple. We were working on the second season of Italia, and I was also working on the second season of Black Butler, and so I had a Black Butler Italia day, which is really weird because you have to switch between 2 accents that are kind of the polar opposites of each other. So I would be like doing this all day. Yes, okay, well thank you, I'll sign out, and now I'll go over to Scott so we can do some Italia. And I suddenly couldn't do the accent. I'm in front of the microphone, and I just could not find the damn accent, and I'm speaking to myself in French, and I'm trying to like, celui-là totalement prenez je dis, I can't. No, it's gone. Sorry, Scott. I have to reschedule. He's like, you can't. We need this now. We have a deadline. I'm like, There just happened to be a blue Snuggie on the floor that I think either Leah Clark or Caitlin Glass left because they're actresses. They get cold when they're recording. They're women, so they get cold, like in the middle of summer on the equator wearing furs. And I don't know what about the color, because it was this bright royal blue, very French blue. And I'm just like, Scott, I'm gonna put on this Snuggie because I'm getting kind of a Frosty the Snowman magic top hat vibe. And so I put it on, and I swear to God, I don't know what happened. The minute I put this ridiculous outfit on, which is like, I don't know, it never feels right. It feels like you're putting on a proper coat incorrectly. And I'm like, oh, there's the accent, I just had to put something blue on. So then I flail because it's France, and the first scene we did, he's wearing something that he looks kind of remarkably like a dress. So I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm as pretty as a princess, oh. And Scott and the engineer are dying laughing because they can see all this through the glass. It's just the Michael Tatum show. Everyone, hello, Michael. It's true. Up at Funimation, saying someone has pulled a Tatum in the booth is a euphemism for looking like a jackass while you record. Oh, you pulled a Tatum. Yeah, and a hamstring. Wow, that, you know. So yeah, and so after that, Scott made me wear the Snuggie every single time we recorded France, because that was how I got into the accent.
Yes. I was just wondering, whenever you get a script, how do you feel about like getting into character?
It's funny, when we're doing dubbing, we don't get the scripts before we go in. So one of the talents you have to cultivate, or skill is probably a better word for it, is to be able to kind of hit the ground running. Like, you have to be able to cold read and make it sound very convincing very, very quickly. So, because, I mean, if I write the scripts beforehand, like I did with Steins Gate, that's different. I get a chance to rehearse them at home months before. But it's not often the case, and as I said, I don't like to necessarily be in stuff that I'm writing because it just feels greedy. It's also very stressful, but when you go in to do a dub, like something on for Funimation or whatever, we don't get the scripts beforehand. We don't see anything until we go in to record. And so we're literally it's being pieced together as we go because we just have to put it out so fast. Which kind of makes it sound like the process is lifeless and soulless, but it's not true, actually. The fact is, once you get comfortable with being able to work that quickly, and your director is really good at their job, which is to kind of put you there and make sure that you know what's going on and that you get the emotional subtext of the scene you're in, so that you just have to process it very, very quickly. And you've got the freedom to go back and redo it if time allows. So it's not as it's frequently not as organic feeling for the actor as, say, doing something on stage where you get to, rehearse for weeks and weeks and weeks, or even film where you get to rehearse, a day or so in advance. But it's very satisfying because it's a very different set of tools that you use in conjunction with the bag of tricks you would use in those other areas, stage. So it's a very different kind of acting, and I think it's very challenging, and I think all the more rewarding when you get it right. So, yeah, that's what happens. We get a script and go, oh, I'm saying this today? Okay, let's go. It's boom, right out of the gate. So, yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It's very tough. Yes?
Okay, my friend Lizzie, her mom disapproves of anime, so she couldn't be here today. So could you say hello to her in your France accent and laugh at the end?
Okay, Lizzie? Hello, Lizzie. I'm so sorry you couldn't be here, but
I love laughing afterwards, make it sound like, oh, sucks to be you, Lizzie. Poor Lizzie.
Hey, yes, my friend Ashley's boyfriend couldn't be here, so if you could, can you, in your Sebastian's voice, tell him how disappointed you are and ask him if he can come over and have tea with the young master?
Now, that's so complicated. What name? What's the name?
Dylan.
Dylan?
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, Dylan, I have to say I'm rather disappointed that you're not here, but we shall have to remedy that at some point. I'll have the tea waiting for you, but not forever. I don't understand why that's hot. There won't be tea. You get that, right? There won't.
Hi, I'm Madison. Can you say what your favorite Hitalia line is out of the whole show and try to do it in the voice?
Oh God, again with the favorites questions. Everyone asks me my favorite. It's so hard to pick favorites. And let me explain why too, because I'm not trying to dish your question. It's a good question, and everyone has their favorites, but I'm an old man. I'm very suspicious of the favorites game, he says while wearing rabbit ears. I occasionally will remember, oh yeah, I'm wearing this ridiculous thing on my head. It's difficult when you're as emotionally invested in something as I tend to get because I'm a little psychotic. The characters I play tend to become a permanent feature in my psyche. So they're always there, and they're on free rotation. So they come out in the car when I'm alone, and I talk to them, and they argue with me. If I were to tell you, oh, this is my favorite character, this is my favorite line, I swear to God, I would go back to my hotel room later tonight, and there'd be like 18 characters going, "You're a bastard." We're not talking to you for a few weeks. But as far as, I think one of my favorite lines, I have to go with if I had to pick a favorite, and I want to give you something because you're kind enough to ask. My favorite line that I can think of off the top of my head, France, don't be mad at me, I know there are many favorites, is the line that, look at that face, so handsome, I want to lick it. Again, because of the response it gets. All right, we have another where did he go? Oh, I was like, where'd he go? He left me. Hello.
Hello. Can you say, you make my kokoro go doki doki in France's voice?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I can. Oh my God, scream them, will you? No, what is it again? Say it again. You make my kokoro go doki doki. Oh. Did I say it right? Oh, good. You can't tell because it's French accent. It's like, I have no idea what you said, so yay! Hello?
Hello. What's the first character you ever... Whoa.
Oh.
And was it Soldier A?
The first character I ever voiced, and what was the second part? I'm sorry.
Was it Soldier A?
No. Soldier 8 was like the fourth thing I ever did. The first thing I ever did was Rikichi in the show Samurai 7. Any fans of Samurai 7? Wow, everyone's like, yeah! I'm like, okay, we're on a roller coaster all of a sudden. True story, Rikichi was how I got into the business. Let me tell the story of how I got in the business, because it's kind of funny and kind of interesting, and I don't mean it to be inspiring, because no one should follow in my footsteps. This is not how to get in the business. This is not, well, just wait 28 years until someone tricks you into it. That is kind of what happened. I had been an actor when I was a kid. I was on stage all the time. From like 6, 7, 8, I just did stage all the time. And then I kind of got out of it once I'd gotten my 20s because, life got in the way and had other plans. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna be an actor anymore. And I missed it, but I just thought it's one of those dreams you tend to grow out of when it's time to pick colleges. And luckily it found me again. Much later, I was in a whole other career and happened to know Chris Bevins, a director, writer, and voice actor for Funimation. Very dear friend of mine. We're kind of comic book nerds together, which is how we bonded. I know, hot, right? He reads comic books? Oh my god.
It is now, that's sexy.
But, so Bevins and I were good friends, and I knew what he did for a living, and I thought it was really cool, because I've always been an anime fan. But I never had any designs. I'll be like, well, my voice is... I just had... acting was a dream I'd long given up on, so I just didn't even conceive of myself as being an actor anymore. Bevins, when he started working on Samurai 7, decided to call me out of the blue one day and said, hey, I've got this character, and I really, named Rikichi, who's really pivotal to the show's heart, and I want you to take a stab at voicing him. And I'm like, oh my god, seriously? No. Because the idea was terrifying. I'm like, I've only ever done stage stuff. I have no mic technique. I have no idea what to do. And dubbing, my god, I would suck. It would be a waste of our time. You're very sweet to ask, but I must regretfully decline. So Bevins called me the next day and said, hey, so I've got this show I'm working on, and proceeded to act like we didn't have the conversation we did the day prior. And this went on for 2 weeks of me coming up with the lamest excuses of why I could not go in. Like, oh, I have a flat. Or I've got to, strain cabbage or wash my dog. Something. And he kept finally, and Bevins, who's a very laid back, very sweet man, suddenly wasn't so much anymore. And he suddenly became very scary mobster Bevins, who's like, okay, you're gonna come in, either under your own volition, or I'm gonna knock you out with a tire iron, throw you in my trunk, and hold you at gunpoint until you do the audition. So you can kick and scream all you want, but it's happening. So I came in, and it was a 4-hour-long audition where we're actually matching mouth movements, what we call flaps in the industry, because it's easier to say than mouth movements, ironically enough. And, it was 4 hours. I'm sweating bullets in this booth, just shaking, freaking out, and trying to get and again, like I was telling you earlier, about having to just read everything on the fly and be like, okay, and he's like, all right, almost, get it one more time, stress this word, do this is the emotional subtext, and go. And I'm like, and I thought I was completely blowing it. In fact, I was hoping I was blowing it because I never wanted to do this again. I could not imagine doing this for a living. I thought, this is far too grueling. This is far beyond my skill set. Oh my God, I just want to get out of this booth, laugh, and never speak of it again. And indeed, after 4 hours, which I thought, my God, 4 hours, got out of the booth, signed what I thought were NDAs. Important plot point, that. And I kind of glibly said to Bevins, who was kind of just looking at me like, that was exhausting, wasn't it? They're like, yes, it is. Can I ask you a question? I said, how the hell do you people get anything done if it takes you 4 hours to audition every single person that comes in? And he's like, oh my God, no, it doesn't take 4 hours. It took us 10 minutes. We've actually been recording the first 6 episodes, and you just signed a contract, so you're now an actor and you're playing Rikichi. Be back here next Sunday. Oh, you son of a... And that is how I became an actor, and that is my first voice role was Rikichi, who will always be very close to my heart, because that was kind of how I learned to be a voice actor. As I said, thanks, spoilers. Maybe he did, you don't know. Did you watch past the credits? I'm kidding. But thank you, I hope that answered your question. I'm not even sure what the question was anymore. See how I go on? Hello.
Hello. Can you tell us your favorite anti-British joke in your France voice?
My favorite anti-British joke?
France plushies.
Oh my God. Oh, I don't have one. Hang on, there's gotta be something. it's not even funny. It's just talking about their food. Because he's like, oh my God, your food is terrible. only the English would come up with a dessert called spotted dick. Not a curse word, it's a real dessert. Look it up. Actually, don't look it up. Spell it very, very carefully if you do. Yes?
What was it like to have to ask Britain to marry you?
Let me tell you something. Scott Freeman, who plays Britain, is hot. So it was kind of nice. Yeah, it was nice. Are you kidding? I'd love it. I'm like the whole time going, oh, it's just Santa's calendar. I try to give Scott calendars all the time. Hey Scott, guess what? It's October. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Yes, you're on the spot.
Yes, and I'm very excited. I want to know, since you are a very big Doctor Who fan.
Sign of civilization.
When you voiced France for Hetalia Painted White, did it really just break your heart when you had to bash Doctor Who?
No, because it's fun to bash your favorite things. I mean, no, it's fun because I'm like, oh my God, this is great. We're getting to a Doctor Who reference in there, you know, with this. Oh, is he gonna stand up? Hey, oh, is this mine? I was like, no, I want it back after the show. Sorry. No, it's fun. Here's the thing. My feeling is if you can make fun of something, that means that something is very profoundly important to you. And if you can make fun of something, that means that something has arrived enough to where you expect other people can get the joke. That means it's very popular, and so I love it. I love that Funimation feel, and like Jamie Markey, who wrote those scripts. Did you bring enough for the whole class back there? Thank you. I love making fun of things that I love because I believe in humor and I believe in making fun of everything. So yeah, it doesn't break my heart to make fun of Doctor Who. I think Doctor Who, you can take pot shots at that show all day and you're never going to do any damage to it because it's Doctor freaking Who. It's older. It's twice as old as I am. Yeah, if you can't laugh at yourself, laugh at the stupid bastard next to you.
That's why I have her. This is actually for both of us. We just recently found out that you were in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yes.
And we don't believe that you do Scar's voice.
I do Scar's voice.
Can you please say something for us?
Yes, I will, and thank you, because this destroys my voice. Because it's very. Oh no, it's one of those things. Like it's a great compliment when someone's like, "Oh my God, I just had no idea that was you." I'm like, "That's great, thank you." It makes me feel like I'm doing my job. But understand, Mike McFarlane, every time I would go in to record Scar, his technique was to punch me in the throat about 5 times so I could do the voice. I will tell you the story of the first time I got to voice Scar in Fullmetal Alchemist, because I'm a big Fullmetal Alchemist fan, and the original series wrapped before I became a voice actor, so I was... What's happening? Oh, okay. The original series wrapped before I was a voice actor, so I didn't get to be a part of it. But then, one day I did get to, when they were doing the Conqueror of Shambhala, the film, I got to be Soldier A, and that was a red letter day for me. I'm like, I got to be in Fullmetal Alchemist. 5 years later, Mike's like, hey, do you want to be Scar? And I'm like, what? Yeah, because Damian Clark, who was amazing in the role, couldn't reprise it. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. You don't say no to something like that. It was great to be part of this. So the first line I did as Scar is something to the effect of, foolish alchemists who turn their backs on the ways of God shall be punished. Followed by me going, so there, do you believe me now? Okay, thank you, you're very sweet.
Do you know of Homestuck? If so, could you try and voice Airden?
I'm not familiar with Homestuck, I'm afraid. I'll have to get back to you on that one. What's the character? Arian? I'll look it up. No, I see the cosplayers for Homestuck every con I go to, and I just have not had a chance to dip in yet, so I'll get on that. Yes?
Hello. What has to be your worst convention experience?
That question always gets asked.
I am standing right here.
You're like, well, this guy, for starters, oh my god, worst handler ever. Whatever. We love it. I don't know. To be honest, I've never had a really bad experience. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, now granted, having said that, I have a pretty high threshold for bad experiences. So it takes a lot for me to be bothered by something because I'm just generally not that kind of person. The funniest could have been bad, but turned out to be okay convention experience was I was at Colossal Con a few years ago, and a tornado hit in the middle of the night. Now, I'm from Texas. That means it's Thursday. So tornadoes, I'm like, oh, tornado? Pain in the ass. But in Ohio, where tornadoes do not strike very often, something as small as an F1 is a big deal because people have no frame of reference for what it's like, and it can be very frightening. I mean, it just is. If you've never been through one before, you're like, oh my god, the finger of God is coming down to demolish homes and people and lives, and this is gonna suck. I'm like, oh, it's an F1, it's nothing. I'm from Texas. This is like a fart in an elevator. It's unpleasant, but we're going to live. But it was like the middle of the night. It was like 3 a.m. But on Saturday, so everyone was up. And they ushered all of us into these corridors at this resort, which is this wonderful. Who here's familiar with Colossal Con? One person. Okay. You have to imagine it being held in this really fantastic indoor water park / petting zoo. That's very cheesily but beautifully African safari themed. And there's only 2 or 3 floors, so they connect. So it's what it lacks in height, it makes up for in sprawl, and which is great because it means you don't have to wait for elevators. Yay! But it means it also has these really creepy basement corridors with like exposed piping and brick everywhere that connect all the different areas of this park, of this resort. And that's where we go when a tornado is coming. So we get shoved down there, and like it's several thousand people in the middle of the night, many of them freaking out because the tornado's coming, and they're understandably scared. And all of us from Texas are just kind of like bored. Oh, this is like just tornado. Just let's get the lawn chairs and go out on the roof. You know, that's what we normally do. But while we were there, it was really funny. I have to kind of, nothing happened. The tornado struck nowhere near us, thankfully, so we were safe. And I don't think it did much damage where it did strike, because as I said, it was an F1, which is tiny. It's like, oh, your baby tornado. It ruffled some clothes on the line in someone's backyard. But we were, but before we knew how bad things may have been, this woman came up to us, and mind you, she had like no shoes or socks on. She was like in her jammies, and but she had like hotel stationery and a pen, and she saw us, and she comes over. She's like, "Hi, I know we might all die soon, but can I possibly get an autograph?" I think to myself, this is a woman who, in the middle of the night, is wrenched out of bed from storm alarms and security going, "There's a tornado, get down in the storm cellar, Dorothy," whatever. And she runs out of bed, leaving luggage and shoes and socks behind, but has the presence of mind, on the off chance of running into some of us in this very, very ponderous basement, stationery and a pen. And so I was impressed enough by that you better believe I signed. I was like, absolutely, hope we don't die, and I drew a little picture of a tornado at the bottom. So yeah, that's the only story I can think of. Most of the time I have very positive experiences con, because I'm with my people. Nothing bothers me. I'm a nerd. Look at me. You see the rabbit ears. I did get stuck in an elevator once, but I was stuck with a really hot guy, so it could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. I think we have time for one more question, and I have to wrap it up so we can do and we already have it picked, so you get the last question. Oh, I hope it's good.
Oh yeah, you're gonna like this one. Okay, so I have a request for a friend. Could you, in France's voice, say that England looks sexy in a miniskirt?
Oh!
Well, yes, I could. England looks so dead sexy in a miniskirt. All right, thank you all for coming. If you'd be kindly to clear out of the room so we can get on with autographs, that'd be awesome.